Hello and happy Tuesday. I have to think after a long weekend. I know.
Feels like Monday today.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah here with Petey and Sean, and we are joined by Craig. I feel like it's Craig's calls. It
does
like
feel like
it's back.
Calls. It kind of feels like a regular season matchup.
And Craig, why don't you tell us where you are right now?
I'm at the IceDen. I am not wandering around the parking lot with my selfie stick. However, holding a phone, I am just sitting in the lobby quietly because Leah told me don't do this from the rink because it'll be too noisy. And
yeah,
she's
actually right.
Are
they on the ice?
Right. So yeah.
Right now,
yeah,
are they
on the ice?
Wow.
Yeah, the sounds of the puck hitting the glass, I just didn't think it would be a good background. Yeah, I just think it would be quite irritating. Well, first of all, Craig, you're at the IceDen for a reason. The season, it's not underway yet. Training camp's not underway, but there are groups of players out on the ice skating. So can you kind of give us a who's who of the IceDen today?
Yeah, it's a big group now, and this is. With my conversations with the players earlier this summer, I knew a lot of people would be coming in after Labor Day. So just about everybody is here. Matthias Michelli is not here, and he was taking a lot of crap for the fact that he's not here yet. Matty Dumba is not here yet, and I did not see Logan Cooley yet, but I think just about everybody else is here on the ice. Even GM Bill Armstrong was here to catch a few minutes of practice before he had to go to another engagement. So it's really starting to feel like hockey season now, guys.
Was Nick Bugstead there?
He was, in fact. He said to say hello, Petey. And also, Tony Silva also passed by and said, "Where's that rat, Steve Peters?"
Well, he's not wrong.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I know, I can't believe, rookie camp starts next week.
Yeah.
What?
Buddy, it's going to be rookies are reporting next week. They're going to go to Vegas for the rookie tournament. It's like, where the hell did summer go?
Wild.
Yeah. Leah, we're going to be on a 2-day plane ride very soon.
Very soon.
It feels like a 2-day plane ride because,
it spans 2 days?
It spans 2 days, yeah. Pick up the 26th or 16th, land the 18th.
Yeah, there is no September 17th, as I've been saying. But, Craig, you mentioned you saw Bill Armstrong. Did you have the chance to chat with him, and what did he have to say?
Yeah, a little bit. We can count on a few appearances from Bill Armstrong on our show while we're in Australia, Leah. I know that now. And we should have a better sense of the schedule really soon, actually. I might be able to get it to you today. I know we've been waiting for that. But aside from that, we were talking a little bit, and he was talking about the expectations for this team, and everybody's obviously getting a little excited now that we're getting into the preseason. But based on their own internal analytics, they're like, okay, we're not in that top-tier team, the cup contenders, obviously. Not in Tier 2 either, the teams that are playoff certain, right? But we're in that third tier based on all of our analytics of playoff, let's call them playoff hopefuls with the Buffaloes and the Ottawas, teams like that. He said it's really intriguing to see, and I think if a lot of people analyze us just based on the roster, they might not think we have a chance, but you can't measure heart, and there's a lot of want-to in this group, as he was saying. So yeah, I'm getting excited to watch this team. There's so many really cool storylines. I think people can get amped up for a step forward with the Coyotes this year.
Wow. I just got juiced.
And it was, and I think, Bill, one thing that helps set expectations to the fan base too, that, hey, anything can happen. And I think Bill said those same, sent those sentiments along, that anything can happen, but cool your jets, everybody. This is just part of the process. This is another step in the process. We're going the right direction, but just wait. Just hang in there. So I just want to make sure that, and I appreciate that coming from the general manager, that he's like, hey, we're okay, right direction, but just everybody wait.
Yeah.
But it does feel like the first time, though, we've had something to be excited about in a few years. So that's encouraging and exciting for certain. Craig, I knew this would happen, but people in the chat are holding on to the fact that Logan Cooley is not there. This is not a mandatory skate, right? This is just, guys getting together to get on the ice, right?
Yeah, and that's what Logan Cooley told me all along. The team knew it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, these are informal skates. They knew he had other things going on. He's had a crazy summer, too. So, yeah, he's going to be here soon. There's no issues there. No, he's not, requesting a trade. I know there have been some bizarre reports out there that some people have touched on. We're not even going to bother to touch on them because why give them any attention whatsoever. But yeah, no issues with Logan Cooley not being here. Matthias, on the other hand, we're going to have to ask when he shows up. But Okay, new contract, buddy. Is that what this is about? You don't have to show up now because you got the money?
Oh my God. Dan says, my wife's at the IceDen and just spotted Craig.
Oh, there you go. Dan's wife is stop by and say hi. Because Craig.
Well, Craig, I know you're trying to catch a few of the guys after they get on the ice, off the ice, that is.
You better get Keller before he gets traded.
Oh my God.
No.
Rumorville, USA.
He's not.
Where we are today.
No, Willie Nylander coming back to the Coyotes, I hear?
Yep, yeah, there you go. That's what I heard.
No. My gosh.
Just no.
No.
Oh boy. Well, Craig, do you have any upcoming stories? I feels like there's finally stuff on the horizon to start writing about. Any guys that you're planning to talk to for any of those said stories?
We'll see how that goes today, but I have a lot of Australia-centric content. You know who I'm talking to tomorrow, Petey, and who may make an appearance on our show? Darcy Hortchuk.
Get out of here.
Apparently the Coyotes ambassador in Australia. He went down on behalf of the team to check things out. So
seriously.
Seriously. Huh. And he lives here. He lives in
the Valley still. He's very involved with he was involved with the Thunderbirds, with the golf tournament. He's very involved in the community, Darcy Hortchuk.
What a gig. Great. Oh no, I have to go to Australia just to seek out the place.
One last thing before you go, Craig. I'm still, we don't want to tease. No, this is tomorrow. We're you know what we're talking about. Does he know the bit? He doesn't know the bit. He
doesn't know the bit.
He went, never mind. You don't know the bit. I'll have to call you after.
You can ask Keller about it.
I need your help. I tried to call you, but you didn't answer. You big-timed me this morning on the way to the IceDen.
Better message me soon, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I already got Jimmy O'Neill on it, and he'll take care of it. But yeah, I tried to call, but I don't know. You ignored me. You dropped my call. You just pushed it to voicemail.
That was a quick decline when I saw that coming in.
I know. I saw it. That's what I heard. I know.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, Craig, we'll let you go. Go watch the guys on the ice, and maybe we'll get some tidbits. But until then, we will see you back here at the studio tomorrow.
Okay. See you guys.
All right. Bye, Craig. Thanks for stopping by. That felt like even Craig calling in. It felt old school. Yeah. Like I'm ready for the season.
I'm not at all. But no, I am. There's some. I am. But there was so much heartbreak in the last 2 years of doing this. I'm hopeful. It's going to be exciting. Are we going to go more? Can we go to the Mullet more?
I would love to go to the Mullet more. Please. Robert said, what's the Australia schedule? Robert, I don't know.
That's a great question.
That is what Craig was alluding to when he mentioned the schedule. But I know I mentioned it when Craig was on. It's just exciting to think of this team no longer in the tier of tanking teams, but in the tier of teams on the up. And last season we talked a lot about Buffalo and Ottawa and Detroit, and I think it's exciting to now think about the Coyotes. Maybe they're at the back end of that. I don't think either of us are sitting here and saying this team's a guaranteed playoff team or a playoff team, even a bubble playoff team, but they're definitely a team that's going to take a step forward.
Well, I sat here early in the summer and I said this team's going to be worse. I said this team is going to take a step backwards. I think they're going to be worse unless you don't expect the 70-point season like they did last season. I said everybody get ready to take a step backwards, and then they go sign all of the players that they signed or they traded for Jersey, and their roster looks better. And now I'm no longer saying that. They're better than they were a year ago.
Whatever happens, you can clip whichever take and be right.
I'm not dumb. So I'm ready either way. But I do believe this team is better than they were a year ago at this time. Now, how they finish off, what they do at the trade deadline, are they moving players out? Are they moving players? I don't know, but I do see this team. Last year I said they were last. At this very time a year ago, right now I said this team was last. This team is better at least better than 4 or 5 teams. And potentially they're going to finish higher than that. And I think there will be moments they are in a playoff spot. I don't know if that will be at the end of the season. I have a feeling it's going to be early, but this team will be above the playoff line at some point during the season.
I think so too, and I think we're going to have some great shtick with it on the show. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. But Petey, you mentioned you're not quite there yet. I'm ready. You're not. It's okay. It's a long season. Sometimes you got to be in the right headspace. And I know you have something that helps you.
I do have something that puts me in the right headspace. And I know we talked about wink here a lot. That's WYNK, was just a wink of THC and CBD. Just a wink. I actually went to a barbecue over the Labor Day weekend, as many people do in their neighborhoods. And I did not bring an alcoholic beverage with me. I brought my wink. And I tell you what, it was an eye-opener it was an educational session for a lot of people in my neighborhood, just to go, what is it? How's it work? What's it going? Like, what is it? And I think people are like, oh, they were very intrigued with wink. And I'm here to be that that
ambassador
of, hey, it's socially, it's seltzer water, 0 carbs, 0
It's nice to be
calories.
able to sip something alongside people drinking
So I was
beers.
socially engaged. I wasn't, again, not intoxicated, not impaired. I just socially, and it was great. It was fun to partake in the weekend with my Wink. So if you're interested in Wink, it's available either in 2.5 or 5 milligram cans. You can find Wink right here in Arizona. Look to Wink at all Sunday Goods dispensaries in the Valley and Botanica dispensaries in Tucson. They're now in 12 states nationwide and even recently launched online ordering and home delivery to about a dozen other states. To find out the fastest way to get your hands on one, go to DrinkWink, that's DrinkWYNK.com, and check out Wink with just a wink of THC and CBD.
Excellent. Well, Petey, this Labor Day weekend for me, it always marks the end of summer,
buddy,
and beginning of football. And it is Tuesday, which means in 2 days, 2 days, we get NFL football. So that is for me, it's prime betting season. But I mean, it's betting season every single day. There's always something.
But I'm going to jump in with our good friend Sean DePaz and I might be wrong in this assumption for betting for college football. Is next weekend the national championship with Colorado and Duke? Is that what I read?
Might have to be at this rate.
Is that what I read? It's over. The season's over.
I'm all in on Duke. So
Duke and the Colorado Buffalo. I've heard they're canceling the season. They're just the best team ever.
Florida State's also in that conversation. Florida State, my son might have something to say about it. But yeah, it's basically those three schools.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Well, while we have Sean on the mic, Sean, you have a parlay of the week for us, courtesy of BetMGM. What do you have?
I do. Tonight is the last D-backs takeover of the year. Because I'm assuming it's going to be pretty difficult to get those tickets in the postseason if they make it. So my favorite part of these takeovers is betting on the takeover or betting on the game and then getting to watch them. So I'm doing a little D-backs parlay tonight. They're playing the Rockies, who are bad at baseball. And the D-backs were pretty solid. They beat them 4-1 yesterday. So my parlay at plus 325 is the Diamondbacks minus 1.5. Brandon Pfaadt, 5+ strikeouts, and Corbin Carroll, 2+ bases. Pfaadt's been shoving. He's been pretty good, and Corbin Carroll's Corbin Carroll. So I think the D-backs roll the night. Plus 325.
Plus you're trying to take it. I'm on it immediately after show, I promise. I'm going to ride the wave.
Great. Awesome. So if you want to tail Sean on that parlay, you can do so on BetMGM. And if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code PHNX when you do. We have a great offer for you right now. You can place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app of at least $10, and you'll receive $200 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. So literally, all you have to do is put down $10, and whether you win or lose, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That is quite a deal if I've ever heard one. And now you can listen to Shane tell you about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
So we have a few other things lined up for today's show. The first one, of course, Jason Serbus. We actually just had the chance to speak with him right before
Very
the
busy
show.
Schedule.
Yeah, so we had to work around his crazy schedule, but great conversation with an head athletic trainer in the NHL. It's the first time we've had one on, and he currently works for the Washington Capitals, works with Alex Ovechkin every day. We asked him about that, but of course he spent about 10 years here in Arizona and tells some really great Arizona stories. So you're gonna love it. It's cool and a really interesting, unique story at the end of the interview as well. But a little bit later in the show, and you need to stick around because Petey actually did some reporting. He put on his reporter hat.
It's kind of my report. I had a hat on
in your unique way.
I did have some headgear on.
He did. We have an update on the site in Tempe.
Yes. So CWP. Stay tuned to the end of the show. Make sure you watch till the end of the show because there will be some breaking news about the site that was proposed for the TED in Tempe.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
Yep. But before we get to that, it's time for the main event of today's show, and that's talking to Jason Serbus. So without further ado, let's send it over to our interview with Jason Serbus. We're very excited to welcome in a special guest, I believe the first head athletic trainer in the NHL we've ever had on this show.
It is.
Jason Serbus was the head athletic trainer for the Phoenix and Arizona Coyotes for over 10 years and is currently the head NHL athletic trainer for the Washington Capitals. Jason, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wow, I feel like we're blazing new trails here. Thanks for having, and great to be with you guys.
So, Serbs, I just want to get a sense of where you're at in the process of summertime right now. Like, where are you, and what are you doing right now?
So we're kind of in that pre-camp time, what we would kind of call that captain's practice time. A lot of our big guys are trickling back. School starts early here in Virginia, so a lot of our guys with kids are back. We're finishing up our rehab on our summer guys. Daily, we're skating, we're training at the training center, and really kind of getting those last couple weeks of preparation and getting ready for training camp, which, as you know, starts on September the 20th. So, yeah, busy. The calm before the storm.
Can you kind of give us the basics of just what day-to-day life is like for an athletic trainer?
Athletic trainers wear a lot of hats. I always tell people I'm really kind of the air traffic controller for all things health, medical, and wellness. We do everything from communicate with the coaches to make plans with our doctors. The obvious is we're working with our players. We're evaluating, we're assessing them. We're treating injuries. We're making plans with our strength people to help them get better, make sure they stay at their best. And probably most importantly, we're there when things don't go well. We're the emergency responders and help, move into action when things get serious. So, we wear a lot of different hats to kind of keep the ship moving.
I look at this time of year, especially, Serbs, and you go getting ready for training camp. And I've seen what your schedule is like now, and you're working almost every day all summer. When you started in this job, that was different. And the summers and the off season and how players trained in the off season was different. How has that evolved, and maybe why has it evolved?
Yeah, it's different, to say the least. I mean, I started in the pro game in the late 90s. I did a little work in the NFL before I got into the hockey realm. And back in those days, hockey was kind of a 9-month pro thing where guys went away for the summer and they took their time and they really relaxed, for lack of a better term. And I think over the course of the last 20 years, sports science has evolved, preparation has evolved. Certainly the competition and margin for error within the team and finding roles and jobs is now more competitive than ever. And I think for athletes, it's a year-round commitment. It's a preparation and training and recovery. It's a 365 lifestyle. It's not just an in-season, off-season thing. So for us, what that means is, every team's a little bit different, but for us, that means we have some guys stay in market. We have some guys that train with us in the off season, some guys that are rehabbing year round, some go home to their family, but really it doesn't, it backs off, but it never truly really stops.
I go back to one of the early years that I started working here with the Coyotes, and the medical trainer at that time was a guy named Gord Hart. Worked all by himself. There was no other staff. It was just him. And a player would come in and he'd look at him and go, tape an aspirin to it and get out of here. And I'm not joking. That literally happened. It was like, this is hockey, go play. Has that attitude changed now with the money, the dollars, and the technology and everything now? Has that attitude changed from your room?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, now I can say for us, these are our investments. This is our team. This is our product, and we want to make sure that these guys have everything they need at all times to be able to perform at their best. And, there's a fine line. You get into the debates, where does the accountability fit in, and where do you need to push and where do you need to hold back? But at the end of the day, certainly the assets and the players are never ignored. Without them, we don't have a team. Without a team, we don't have a product. So yeah, the attitude's very different.
I just want to go a little bit back into your history and ask, how do you even become an athletic trainer, let alone an athletic trainer in the National Hockey League? Can you just give us a little bit of your backstory?
Wait. Before you start, I think you should tell people where you're from.
I'm from the great and proud place of Bird Island, Minnesota. Yet another Minnesota colleague.
Got him. Minnesota.
Some say the state of hockey, but I just say that's where I'm from.
Okay, sir. So how do you get here?
So in general, like a lot of my colleagues, I was an athlete when I was younger. I played some Division III college football, and due to some unfortunate injuries and surgeries, I kind of had to figure out what I was going to do with my life instead of just be a college football player, which was a very good second choice, by the way. I really enjoyed my time being a college football player. But certainly, kind of had to shift gears, and I always did pretty well academically. And, I had a great guidance from some college coaches that kind of just said, hey, we got to help you out with this. And I wanted to be somewhere where I could use my passion for sports, but also, do something that challenged my brain and academically what I was good at. They helped me get into the medical program at Wisconsin River Falls. And lo and behold, one of my first summers, the Kansas City Chiefs were coming to River Falls for summer camp, and they needed interns. And my first internship when I was 18 years old was in the NFL for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
And what a dream come true for a young kid from Minnesota, and really I kind of fell in love with pro sports, and I knew that the pro game is what I really wanted to do. So I studied athletic training and went on to get my master's degree and ultimately took my first job in minor league hockey for a team called the Central Texas Stampede,
Nice.
which was like below the Central Hockey League. For a while, it was called the Western Pro Hockey League. And that was in 1998. And, hockey is really a game of doing well and putting your time in and working your way up that sequential ladder. And my story, was a long one. It was a slow one to make those progress. But for me, I wouldn't have it any other way. And eventually it landed me to a shot in the NHL.
So you were with the Coyotes for, I think, just about 10 years. What are some of your best memories when you look back on your time in Arizona?
Gosh, we had fun. We had a lot of fun. It just even visiting with Petey here brings back so many memories. We had a great staff. We had a great team. I think we kind of thrived on the idea of always being the underdog. We were kind of fighting our way out of that stigma all the time of some of the other storied franchises in the NHL. So we worked hard. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of great people on our staff. And I really remember my time and my family's time in the Valley as being amazing. We really enjoyed living there. We enjoyed working there, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, one of the things I remember, and it serves when you're in that particular time, staffs weren't overly large like they are now. It was small. It was a real family. And when Serbs and his wife Paula and son Garrett left, it was hard. It was hard for them. It was hard for us. And I think it's funny how all these people still are intertwined and their lives go together. But we have a picture, Serbs. You had a little post-game ritual with some of our old-time players. And I wonder if you could talk about what you guys did. Was it just after wins?
If you're going to show what I think you're going to show, if you remember at a time, Petey, we had a bunch of really veteran older players. And I think we referred to him as the 5K line for a little bit, because if I recall, at one time we had 5 guys that were over 1,000 games on our roster. I'm thinking about guys like Ryan Whitney, Shane Doan, Damon Lankow, Adrian Aucoin, Derek Morris. We had quite the list there. And we took our preparation very seriously. Playing the games was very serious, but a couple of the guys were kind of Scotch connoisseurs, not necessarily wine connoisseurs. And yeah, there it is. And every once in a while when we had a big win, we just had a little sample of something new, just to kind of celebrate in a very small amount, but. Yeah, that's the old boys right there.
That's Ray Whitney and Adrian Aucoin for those on YouTube right now with Jason Serbus at a post-game celebration. And that kind of brings us into 2012, Serbs. And I know we'll talk about your successes that you had as you went along. But do you remember the 2012 run and what at that time was? I know you were with the Tampa Bay Lightning and they win a cup, and then you come to Arizona and that. Can you tell us about the 2012 run, your special memories, or what that meant to you?
You know what I really remember, Petey, is I remember, again, we had some older players on that team, and those older players, they've got a lot of miles on them. And I remember for my staff, it took a lot of work to keep that group together. But I remember those guys played, man. They played their butts off, and they wanted to play every night. I remember, sometime after the halfway point in the spring of the year, January, February, we went on a pretty good tear to put ourselves in a really good spot. And I remember, we have a calendar in the training room that every night we'd put W's and L's on, and it was kind of our little ceremonial end of the day. And I remember one of those months had a lot of W's on it to put us into a really good spot. We end up winning the Pacific Division, which was cool in its own right to be able to get into that banner discussion, to have some hardware to hang in the room. But then we got into a magical playoff run. And if you remember at the time, Chicago Blackhawks were pretty dang good. They were winning a lot of hockey games. And I remember we had a lot of overtime battles in all three series. And I remember we defeated the Blackhawks on the road in the first round. And we were going to stay overnight no matter what the itinerary was to stay. And I remember after the game and the dust settled and the players were kind of leaving the rink, the Chicago Blackhawks trainers, athletic trainers and equipment managers invited Stan Wilson and I to come down to their locker room and congratulate us in person. And I remember at that time walking with Stan going, wow, like we just knocked off the Blackhawks at home, the lowly little Coyotes. And we kind of knew then that was a special group. We had a good battle against the Predators, which the playoffs in Nashville was unbelievable. And, then to get up against the LA Kings, who went on to win the Stanley Cup, it was pretty special. And you realize how special it is to get those 16 wins. Man, it's hard. It's hard to get to 12, let alone 16. But that was a run for the memories for sure.
Well, let's jump to the year that you actually were part of a Stanley Cup winning team with the Washington Capitals. So obviously you were there for that. Can you take us inside that experience? And you actually have your name on the Stanley Cup, which obviously is not a thing that can be said about a lot of people.
That's real. That's a real picture of the Stanley Cup with his name on it.
That's awesome. So just what was that experience like, being part of a full Stanley Cup winning run?
Well, I will tell you, anything that you could ever dream it could be, it's that times 10. And I have so much respect for the game of hockey. I have so much respect for our players and the history in the Stanley Cup. And humbling really is the word. I mean, certainly the Washington Capitals have been on the verge for a handful of years before that. With great success and President Cups wins and President's Trophy wins, and talk about being blessed to be in the right place at the right time. For me and my family, it was extremely emotional. It was the year that we relocated, as it happens in pro sports, not by choice, and it was a tough decision to make, and it was a tough transition. But to be a part of an organization like this and see every night what it takes out of these guys to throw it out there and do what they do. And, we had our share of battles too. The Columbus Blue Jackets almost eliminated the Caps in round one. And we had a couple big overtime wins to carry it on. And ultimately we faced the Tampa Bay Lightning in the conference finals. And I remember, coming from behind, getting into a Game 7 situation where we had to win, and I remember Ovi that night. I remember him in the locker room and his demeanor, and he came out and scored early in Tampa Bay and within the first minute, and I remember just getting chills, thinking in my mind, that's the first time I knew this team's going to do this, and Ovi's not going to be denied. And we got a whole nother series to go through. And then we go out to Vegas and play them in the finals, which was incredible. And yeah, all I can say is everything you could ever imagine it would be and more. And like I said, even more special for my family who had a really difficult transition, and to end a year like that's amazing.
And it's one of the things for everybody that's ever worked a day in the National Hockey League, this is what you want. I wasn't fortunate enough to have that happen in my career, but to watch people that I've worked with, Jason Serbus, and that same year Sergei Kocherov wins, and now this year Rick Brownstein, Sean Burke. It's great to live vicariously through them. Although it would have been nice to happen to me. You brought up Ovechkin, so we'll make this really quick on Ovechkin. You work closely with Alexander Ovechkin every day. What's that experience been like watching him chase history, for one? But two, what is it like watching him get older, and what does that mean for your role as a medical therapist? You got to keep this guy healthy.
He doesn't get older. You know the saying, the Russian machine never breaks. Hey, you know what? Alex is a generational talent, and he is unbelievably gifted at what he does, and it's humbling just to be a part of his story. I'm one small piece of a great number of people that help all of our athletes here, and to have a front row seat watching Alex every night's incredible. Like all athletes, as they move on in their career, they have a lot of miles on that car, and you kind of have to rethink how you do things, and kind of constantly find the best ways to keep things going. But man, I wish I could tell you I see any signs of him slowing down, because he sits out there every night and keeps hammering at home. So it's amazing to watch, and just happy to be a part of his story.
You talk about being a part of his story, so I want to throw up this next slide, buddy. Like everywhere there's Ovechkin, there is Jason Serbus. Like he photobombs the great eight more than anybody in hockey. So everybody this season, when you look at all of these Ovi pictures, look for Jason Serbus, because he is likely standing right behind the great eight. Okay, Serbs.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, you dug deep into your camera footage. And secondly, I'll tell you, as you know, hockey is very routine and very ritualistic. We're not superstitious, but there's a lot of routines, right? Obviously, in my job, I stand in the same place every night behind the bench. Ovi sits in the same place. So just by those routines, often we're in the same time and space. And I'm trying to stay out of the way, man. He's the one doing his thing. But I will tell you, for a while, I got several comments wondering if I was his security guard. And, that they didn't really know that I was the team athletic trainer. But like I said, you talk about a front row seat to history. I'm literally get to stand behind him every night and watch him do what he's so great at.
By the way, he is going to break that record inside the mullet. So just get ready for it. It's going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to wish it into existence.
We'll be ready.
One of the, I think, most intense parts of your job is when something goes down on the ice and you have to jump over the boards and run out and assess the situation. When something like that happens and you are jumping over the boards, what's going through your mind? Like, what's that process like?
It's a lot calmer than maybe one would expect. We as athletic trainers, we place a great priority in the preparation and in the seriousness of all those things. And certainly you can't ever be prepared for everything, but you want to have a system in place that's prepared to react and pivot. And that system is a whole team of athletic trainers and doctors and paramedics, et cetera. As seen in DeMar Hanlon's case, those folks jumped into action and did what they practiced and were trained to do. I think you get very task focused at the time. When something happens, there are certain sounds and certain sights that put things into motion, and we have different tiers of our plan that get triggered into motion. So, I feel like as a player, when the puck drops, they kind of go into that game time mode. As athletic trainers, I would think all my colleagues would say we're very similar in a sense that we know that once that game starts, our responsibilities now change and become very, very serious or potentially serious. So we have to have our game faces on and be ready to go.
Yeah, one of the things, and I would tell another story. This happened we were in Pittsburgh, and Serbs and I worked for the Coyotes at that time, and we were going over, I don't recall if it was a morning skate or for morning practice, and Jason Serbus happened to be in a vehicle on the way to the practice and witnessed what? Fill the rest of the story in for us.
We actually, this was back in the day before Uber. So we actually took a taxi cab in the morning. The athletic trainers would hail a yellow taxi to go to the morning skate. And, you know, in light of getting there and getting everything ready and organized and our preparation done, we would go, you know, a fair amount of time before the players would arrive. And that particular morning in Pittsburgh, we were riding as a staff in a taxi. And I remember that it was in the winter, it was snowing, and it was kind of morning. It was kind of a gray January morning. And we're stopped at a stoplight. And I remember seeing this surreal sight come across my vision, that a car ran full speed through the stoplight and up onto a curb of a busy morning pedestrian group of people communicating, and struck a pedestrian. And we witnessed a person getting launched and being the victim of a severe, you know, automobile trauma. And turned out that the person was a victim of a drunk driver collision early in the morning. And this person was just walking on their way to work and got hit by a car. And you know, my staff was in the right place at the right time to help. And you know, we had a person that had nothing to do with ice hockey, nothing to do with our day, but you know, our guys jumped in and did what we needed to do to help this person ultimately survive and have a great outcome. I still keep in touch with this person occasionally.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you know, it was for all the scary hockey injuries we see, it's the ones that you don't expect out of the places that you don't expect that make you very, very anxious and nervous. And she was in a very difficult spot that day, and we were glad we could help.
But I just want to say thanks to Jason Serbus today, and sincerely, one of my dear friends in this sport of hockey. He's one of the good guys, and I know we don't get to catch up enough and talk enough, because once the hamster wheel starts, buddy, it starts, and your days are really full. So I'm glad we got this time today, Serbs. My last memory of you was sitting on your couch watching the Glendale City Council. And we sat at his house as a group. But thanks again for taking the time out of your incredibly busy schedule. And please, let's do it again sooner than we took this time.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. Always a pleasure to visit and catch up. And like I said, we're fortunate to be a part of this little society in hockey as athletic trainers that are really a bunch of extremely dedicated and extremely professional individuals. And, you know, I'm just humbled to be a part of it.
Thanks, Jason. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Talk soon.
You know, one of the big things with these guys and these medical guys is we think about our day of work and we're having a bad day as we stumble on the microphone when we say something. Like, these guys literally have people's health and their lives in their hands. It's amazing to me the preparation that goes into it. He mentioned when they have an emergency situation, he talked about Mar Hamlin. You should see the practice these guys do leading up to a season where it's a mock injury, and they go through every single step in that arena, from the doctors to the paramedics to what hand signals you use. And I know, here's my little cheat sheet. If you see a medical guy go like this, hold his hand up in a fist, things are going down. And when you watch the Damar Hamlin situation, as soon as the medical guy, all the doctors and everybody jumps in. Wow. Okay, it's time. Like, we're going. Great interview, and what a great person. Miss him and his family here in the desert, but I'm glad we got to catch up.
I could never do what he does and what they do. It's unbelievable what they do. We're such an underrated role.
And guys are cut and bleeding, and
when Clayton Keller broke his leg.
And then what do you say to the guy? You're in the corner, and he's literally, his leg is broke, his femur's broken. Oh, it's gonna be okay. Like, no, I would have passed out.
Yeah. Wow. And also really cool to get his background, which started in the NFL. Imagine your first internship at 18 with the Kansas City Chiefs, which is crazy.
That is crazy. What a good story. And it just, I know it wasn't all Coyote centric, but he was a big piece of what happened around here under the Dave Tippett era. And he was a big piece of this franchise for a very long time. So I'm glad we got to get Jason on and wish him the best of luck. And I will follow Ovechkin and keep your eye on him on the bench. And one more picture. I don't know if Sean DePaz still has this picture. This came out while Jason Serbus, this was one of those video games, NHL.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. I don't know how this goes. EA Sports. And this was an actual shot from the video game of the Coyotes bench. And that is, to me, that's Jason Serbus. He used to wear the blue gloves on the bench, and we were like, oh my God, you're in the game. We're like, did they pay you?
That's hilarious.
And I don't know if it was real or not, but that was him.
Oh, man. And now you know, when you watch the Capitals,
yes.
look behind Ovi on the bench, and there he is.
Former Coyote.
There he is. Well, we mentioned that he interned for the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are in action this Thursday for the start of the NFL season. And we're really excited to partner with Splash Sports for a weekly Pick X and NFL Survivor contest for everyone to participate for real money. Here's what you're going to do. Head to splashsports.com/PHNX. The link is also in our description. Deposit cash to get started, and it's just $5 to enter either PHNX Weekly NFL Pick X contest. You can win $315 for first prize. You also have the PHNX Survivor contest, which is a $450 winner takes all prize. We'll be running weekly contests all year, so keep that link handy. You can also run your own contests over at Splash Sports. So head to splashsports.com/PHNX to join in. We'll have different contests coming out, so we're stoked to compete with and against you all. Be sure to click our link in the description. Going to be a ton of fun. Some people enjoy doing contests or betting. Other people just like to pop in OGs, put their feet up on the couch, and enjoy a marathon of Sunday football. I personally can't wait for football to be back on all day on Sunday. And if you're into OGs, a great way to watch football. I know Sean has done that a time or two. He's nodding. So you can check out our friends at OG's Brands. They have the multi-flavor bags, which is a great way to try out all the different flavors, the fruits and the creams. You can get the Sunny Sativa or Mellow Indica blend, whatever you want. They also have Sleep Edition gummies. They have microdose gummies, whatever need you have. OG's has it, and they're delicious, scratch made, and they're local here in Arizona, which I feel like I don't emphasize enough. So check out our friends at OG's Brands for yourself and try one or a few of their many delicious flavors. Check them out across all socials at OG's Brands and online at ogsbrands.com to find them at a local dispensary near you. You must be 21 or older to enjoy responsibly. Okay, Petey.
Is it time?
It's time, and I kind of want you to explain how this came to be.
Well,
how you decided to.
So here's we talked about the arena in Tempe for a very long time, and the vote and everything that went in behind it, right? And we were fairly confident this was, along with the franchise, that this was going to happen, and they were going to build this beautiful entertainment district in Tempe, new jobs, all these things. It didn't happen. And as the opponents of this deal came out and became louder and louder and louder about the no vote, they kind of led us to believe there might be some fun stuff going in that. And so my frustration grew that clearly there wasn't going to be anything fun going on at this site, and it was just going to cost a lot of money to fix. So I got frustrated, but I got my frustration out creatively. And this was what was born from it. It's been over 3 months since the voters of Tempe rejected the Tempe Entertainment District proposed by Coyotes owner Alex Morello. Tempe First, the opposition to the project, implied on social media that there could be parks or low-income housing, or there might be better uses for that site. Who wants parks when you can get 2 casinos? And let's come up with a better project for all our community. Or, from Lauren Kuby, Tempe will, invite new proposals that better represents our values. So we thought today would be a good time to go check out and see how the progress is coming on the new park. Let's go! Well, we're here, and the Tempe voters were right. There's no traffic, there's no noise, there's no high rent housing. There's also no tax break for billionaires. But you know what else isn't here? No new jobs, no new tax revenue, no tourist amenities. And as for a better use of this land, as of now, the city has not been approached by any other developer that are interested in developing this site. And according to Tempe City Council member Randy Keating, the city has hired a consultant to evaluate the logistics and cost of cleaning up the dump site that was supposed to house the Tempe Entertainment District and the Coyotes Arena. And that's the bad news. For the good news, I don't like crowds, and we have the whole park to ourselves. Let's go.
Well, we're also hearing at PHNX Sports that the city of Tempe is looking to borrow up to $200 million to help remediate this land. And where does the burden of that money fall onto? You guessed it, the Tempe taxpayers. Whoops.
I probably never go there, and I don't really want my tax dollars going that direction.
And no matter what happens, stick with PHNX Sports for all of your Coyotes arena news and all things hockey in this great state of Arizona. That's it for me. I'm Petey. We'll see you next time. For now, I'm heading back to the dump, the park. We'll see you soon.
Well, you might not. The park was amazing, by the way. A little toasty. A little. We
what was
shot
it? 110.
Was it 110 that day? It was a little warm in the hazmat suit, but all for the entertainment. But there was hidden in the entertainment. There was hidden a little bit of actual news in there.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's going to cost Tempe taxpayers $200 million to remediate that land, whereas the proposed arena and entertainment district by the Coyotes would have had no taxpayer implication unless you attended the site and bought a hockey ticket, bought a soda, went to a restaurant. If you just stayed away, your taxes didn't go to it. And now their taxes are probably going to have to go to clean it up.
Yeah, and you listen to the city council member, Randy Keating, said that they've hired a consultant to figure out what the hell they're going to do with this. And instead of it being done, and I know people just were misinformed, and it's too bad. And you could talk about what the team's role in that could have been. But when you go to that site, and I was there, it's really unfortunate because you think of what could have been there and what that area could have done for that part of Tempe. It's really sad. But in the good news, we are, just like I said, we're going to be there when there is more arena news and more positive arena news for the Phoenix metro area, wherever that may be with the Arizona Coyotes, and we're going to be there.
Yep. And as far as we know, their plan remains the same. They still want to have that entertainment district. It's not just going to be an arena, and they're not going to have it be on the taxpayers. So I think that's why they're really doing their due diligence and taking their time and looking at multiple different sites and multiple different options to make sure that the deal they get is the best for the city it's in and, for themselves. Obviously, they have self-interest in this. They want to make money. They're business, the Morellas are business people, of course. I think, they're definitely trying to do everything they can to avoid a vote because as we saw the misinformation campaign and as, everything that you showed, all those tweets in the beginning, I mean, just proven wrong by you standing out there in a hazmat suit in 110 degrees. So,
yeah, and I think, first of all, I'll clear this up. Tempe voted no. They voted no. So it's going elsewhere. Yep. And I just, the voters were heard. And hopefully the Coyotes can find a way without getting this in front of the voters again, that they can just find a way to get a building built and let's move on and let's, and the Watts, it is going on X as soon as the show is over.
Yes, it is. So
please...
If you were listening on audio thinking, what weird music was I just listening to, I recommend going to the PHNX Sports YouTube or at PHNX_Coyotes on Twitter from the visuals because it's worth it. It's great stuff. Petey, you crushed that. Petey's just been churning out content left and right.
There's more.
The thing we were teasing that Craig didn't know about, there's another thing that's already done that's on its way. Petey has just been putting in work. I'm not gonna lie, and
security.
It's been great stuff. So just one of the reasons to become a diehard. If I know a handful of you were there last Thursday for our diehard hangout where Petey went inside the bubble. That's another great benefit to becoming a diehard. So we try to make it completely worth your while. Our Discord, 20% off merch, 20% off our events, access to Craig's diehard only pieces, including his mailbag, which just went out last week. There's just so much. So with the season right around the corner and Craig and I headed to Australia in less than 2 weeks, become a diehard today. There's no better time, and you can get your free shirt or hat when you sign up as well. So check that out. And we haven't done this in a while. If you're a diehard, drop it in the chat, #diehard. I love when we used to do that. Yep. So let's see all the diehards. But Petey, wherever the Coyotes end up building their arena, I can guarantee one thing. There will be a Circle K nearby.
There will be.
Because...
Do they have in Australia? No.
I don't know. They do in Canada, but...
do they?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
Circle Ks, they're everywhere. They are absolutely everywhere. That is one thing that is consistent, and there will be a Circle K near wherever the new Coyotes arena goes. So have no fear. And right now, you can join the Inner Circle, which is Circle K's new free membership program, which saves you 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Listen, gas, it's not cheap these days. To save 25 cents per gallon is a huge get, especially for 5 fill-ups. So you can really make that last depending on your commute. And you get every 6 free on a selection of Circle K products, pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks, etc. So you can join the Inner Circle for free. All you have to do is download the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. Petey, anything else before?
No, I think that's it. We've got a lot coming up this week, next week, leading right into rookie tournament and training camp. So it's time.
It's time. We're there. Here. Wow, I can't believe it. We were begging for August to be over, and now we're in September. Yep. So here we are.
Let's go.
So everybody, thank you so much for following along, for tuning in. Hit the like button on this video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on audio, be sure to leave us a review, subscribe, like, share. All of our video podcasts are also on YouTube or on audio and vice versa. There it is. And thank you again to Jason Serbus for his time. Great. Really, really great, interesting stuff. And always great to hear from members of the staff that maybe don't get spotlighted enough. And of course, you can find that amazing video we just showed at the end of the show there on our Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes and on our YouTube channel, PHNX Sports. So be sure to subscribe there as well so you never miss when we go live. We're actually going to be live at noon tomorrow. So adjust your schedules accordingly. We are live at noon. So tune in then, but we're back at 11 a.m. the rest of the week and the week after. And then the week after that, I don't know, because I told you I don't know the schedule yet and the time change is whack. But for now, you can follow all of us on Twitter at SPetersHockey, at Leah Merrill, at Craig S. Morgan, at Sean_DePaz, at PHNX_Coyotes. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow at noon.